So say you take something from somebody and you pretend like it's yours, and then somebody sues you for that. What is that called? How wonderful sex is, because it makes people feel good. It can also make you feel really, really, really bad too, right? It can be on one side an amazing experience, or it can be on the other side a horrifying experience, or in like the middle, it could just be like, okay. I, believe it or not, don't do a lot of drugs because I am a drug. Hi guys, it's Alyssa and welcome back to my channel, The Divine Venus, where I put out videos on astrology. Now, as I'm talking, it is January 20th. Yesterday was January 19th, and the North Node just moved from Gemini into Taurus. So I'm a day late. Hopefully I'm not $1 short, but I am a day late recording this video. And because I have to edit it, I might be 2 days late before you get it. But I do want to make this video because the North Node will be in Taurus for a year and a half. It will be moving out July 17th, 2023. So we got some time. This video will be relevant for a long time. It's okay that I'm late. I decided that I was going to go into more of a dark side of this because we are dealing with Scorpio as the South Node, and so there are going to be a lot of dark, shadowy energies that are going to take over the collective. I hate saying that word. It sounds so spiritually pretentious. And then if I just say like collective and energy like all the time, whatever, I gotta do it. It's like the only word I need a thesaurus. Someone give me a thesaurus for collective. I am wasting time. So there's a lot of dark shifts happening. And I don't know if you can feel them. There should be an undercurrent because Scorpio is a water sign. So we are kind of bounced into the South Node aggressively, like right away. And the reason for that is because the North Node and the South Node are connected as one. They're considered the dragon or the serpent. The North Node is the head of the dragon. The South Node is the tail. The tail is our spiritual energy, our past life karma, what we have, like our gifts that we can bring into this world. And the North Node is going to be our physical desires on this earth, what we are trying to get. The North Node, the dragon head, it devours. Okay, so when we get into a new shift of North Node energy, we get into a new understanding of what we want to devour. All right, so with Taurus, we get a lot of, well, it's a second sign, it's feminine, it's ruled by Venus. We get into a lot of the ideas of like sensuality, beauty, money, value, the quality of your life, etc. And that's kind of what we really want physically. But before we are capable of getting those physically, we have to grapple with our South Node. Is grapple a word? I think so. Okay, so the South Node is like, are you spiritually well enough to handle these things on a physical level? Because the Taurus North Node can get very seven deadly sins-y. Like, think about what Taurus wants. Oh, I want money. Okay, greed when the North Node is there, right? You can get really, really greedy real fast. Or like sex and like pleasure, and then it's like, and get really lustful really fast. Or I'm stubborn, I want the things that I want. You can get really, really angry and full of rage really fast. Or Taurus is like, I don't want to do anything. So the North Node is like lazy and slothful. Alyssa, you don't want to edit this video, so you're already walking into it like a sloth. That's the energy there. So here within the North Node and the South Node, you're going to start with the Scorpio South Node, and you're going to get into this position of Scorpio, I desire. That's where you're going to come from. And you're going to get to an understanding of the things you desire, whether that is a person, place, thing, or idea. Like, what are those things that you desire? Is it money? Is it a human being? Is it a car? Is it a house? Is it stability? Like, what are these things? And once you kind of have a lock on what it is that you desire, then karmically it's going to kind of heat up, because desire heats you up, right? It's going to heat up inside of you and you're going to go after it. The Scorpio South Node wants to transmute into the Taurus North Node of, I have. So then now this belongs to you. I have this. But the thing with Scorpio, especially when it's on the South Node and it's in a spiritual end, is that if these things don't actually belong to you in some form of alignment or even energetic exchange, there is no way it can transmute into I have. You would have to take it, which means that it's no longer I have, it's I stole, or I imprisoned, or I enslaved, or I took, or whatever it is. You have to go into it like, you gotta go into it right. You gotta get it right. You got to walk into it with a certain directive so that nobody is confused. There can't be any like secrets or lies or even like improper investments or whatever, because those things are going to fall through because you're not allowed to have them. You desired them and you acquired them in a negative way or a bad way, therefore they don't belong to you. You'll never have them. So you have to come incorrect is basically what it is. And when you go incorrect to these things that you desire and you have them, then that is when you kind of feel like this Taurus North Node is just like bringing you the abundance that you want. And abundance is the word that everyone uses. Abundance is a dumb word for me. It sounds like bundt cake, like a bundt cake, abundance. So I don't like saying that word, but I guess it's a good one. This is a dice that I just wanted to throw for some reason. I don't really know why. It's like a number. Wait, should I? Maybe I should throw it. It says 8. Oh yeah, that's the 8th sign of Scorpio. I have no reason to. That was cool though. It landed on Scorpio. We're getting into the Scorpio. I desire to transmute that into what you have. So that's basically everything. So what I'm going to talk about is the dark side of all of this information and how that this is going to lead into imbalances if we're not careful, but how those imbalances will be exposed. So that's what this video is about. It's not going to be about all the great things that you can have. However, you can have really great things. You can have a lot of love, a lot of money, if those things are like meant for you, you know, if like they're called for you. You can have, you can get out of bad situations. You can feel free. Like if you feel trapped at all by your situation, this Taurus North Node wants to untrap you. But you have to have certain values in yourself, like integrity, like power, like personal love, like feelings of value in who you are in order to get out of certain things like that. So those are what you'll be working on this whole year. And I would say, like, because the 8th house also is like a lot of tower moments. Oh, that's maybe the 8th tower. There's a tower energy to it. And a tower in tarot tower is this like, you've built up a tower, but you can't build it any higher. You can't build it any better. The only thing you can do is burn it down. And so there's a lot of things that will fall with it, but then you can build a better tower and it's ashes, like very Phoenix energy, right? I keep wanting to throw these dice up in the air. I don't know why. Okay, I'm stopping. Hands are off, like I'm just kind of fidgety right now. Okay, so that idea of like tearing down what you have built to build something better is going to be the first thing that you might want to consider before you just go in to try to acquire what you want, right? Especially if what you want doesn't fit in the life that you have. And maybe you've been working really hard on this life. Maybe this life was really important to you, but maybe you realize it's not satisfying, and Taurus North Node is about finding that internal satisfaction. And you need to find that satisfaction because that, I mean, it's like contentment, satisfaction. It's like life is already hard as it is. And if you're building a tower based on this pain and based on a personal hell or based on all these things I'm going to talk about, you might just tear it down. Just start over. Like none of those things are good. Only gold can stay. But the Taurus North Node is going to give you really good things if you are prepared to honor yourself and honor the people that you love the most. Now, I have my North Node in Taurus, so during this video, you might get some personal anecdotes from me. Most likely you will. So if you don't like those, so I don't know where, it is a weird energy because it is my nodal return. So if you do have a Taurus North Node like me, this is your energy. This will align you with fate and destiny. If you have a Scorpio North Node, which is the opposite of this, this is going to sort of force you to look at your life from an alternate perspective and to kind of see where you're going. you're going to be trying to devour this energy that the collective is currently cleaning for you in a weird way. So you're gonna be able to see like, these are the issues with this energy and maybe why you wanna back off a little bit. You're gonna be learning a little bit of temperance over this. But on the flip side, your South Node is gonna be this genius energy during this time for the next year and a half, because everyone's gonna be like, I want Taurus, and you're like, I was born with that. So you're able to see your life from a different perspective, like what makes you great, why people want to have the energy that you have. If you have a Leo or an Aquarius North Node, this is going to be a shift of fate and destiny. You might even lose a lot of what you've built up to redirect you on your new route. So those are important things. But if you have the North Node and Taurus like me, these are going to be just kind of making sure that you know what you're doing, you're learning your lessons, that you are reaching for the things that belong to you. And if you are in alignment with yourself in this journey for yourself, good things can happen. But if you have a lot of bad karma or like you're doing a lot of bad things, this could pull you off. So just kind of pay attention to the things that I am talking about. So anyway, these are the timestamps that we got here that you can skip ahead to if you are interested in me talking about any one of these things. But these are the major dark energies that are going to be with the world. We got money, sex, lawsuit, drugs, prisons, and exposing lies. I feel like exposing lies isn't in the correct form. Like maybe I should have just wrote lies, but it's more about exposing the lies. Anyway, that's besides the point. So let's start off by talking about money. Now, Scorpio and Taurus both rule money. Taurus rules your money, Scorpio rules other people's money. So when Scorpio is considering like joint assets, joint finances, trading like stocks, crypto stuff, anything that is related to you kind of taking money from someone else or an exchange of energy. It is an exchange of energy, but when it comes to energy, money is one of the most valuable energies that we as a culture worship. Doesn't mean that it is. Money is the root of all evil or whatever, but it also is something that everybody needs for security right now, at least. And so the ever-changing idea of like currency and what money is, that's going to be very, very forefront on everybody's mind. And people will be really, really afraid of losing money, of losing their stability, losing their security, not having things that they thought that they would have. And because Taurus is like, I have money, because Taurus is the sign of I have, okay? Scorpio is a sign of I desire. If we're getting into the fact that Scorpio and Taurus are money, you can say Taurus is I have money and Scorpio is I desire money, right? And you can see how if the South Node is I desire money and that is not cleared up karmically collectively, then people are going to be freaking the fuck out about their money and how they desire it and how they can't have it. And it's going to be very, very triggering, even more so than it normally is. However, because we naturally want to get into this Taurus North Node placement, it should be a good time for everybody to start clearing up their issues with money so that they can have it, okay? And now this is where I'm going to tell you a little story about myself, because I was born with this placement. And no, I was not born rich, and I've never had a sugar daddy. It's actually one of those things that people kind of get on me sometimes. Like I remember when I started astrology at like on YouTube and stuff, and everybody was like, it's a weird noise that I'm making. People are like, you know, Alyssa just is so bored because she has a boyfriend that pays for everything or whatever. And that's never been the case. I've worked my whole life. Like since I was 15, I got a job. Like I had someone sign a waiver. My parents had to sign a waiver so I could work when I was 15 because it was illegal without parental consent. And I wanted to work. And I've always worked. I have never not worked ever in my life. Even when I was pregnant, I was working. I didn't have leave. I've been working for my own money all my life, okay? And even while married, I had him quit his job. There was just this consensus that if someone's gonna make money, it's gonna be me. And it's always been that way for me in my life. And what you can actually see with a lot of people, anybody born with Scorpio South Node, they almost seem to have a weird energy around money. Like either we really, really like money or we really, really don't like it at all. Now I fall in the latter, like I don't really like money at all. It's just like, I just want like to be secure. And there is that value with any sort of Taurus energy. And like right now, if everybody's trying to get it, everyone is looking for that security. We're all going to be trying to get that security. So whether you want money or you don't want money, you are going to want it. Like, you know, you're going to need it or something. It's going to be a part of you, and you're probably going to experience some toxic issues you have with money. So when I first started working as a server in a restaurant and a bartender, I dealt with a lot of cash, right? And I didn't know what to do with it because I used to always get paychecks. So I would get out of my shifts at the restaurant and I would stick like wads of cash into the side of my seat. Then it would just go wherever it wanted to go. So I had a friend who is a Taurus, go figure, in my Jeep one time, and she was like, "Why is there a $20 bill by my feet?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And she said, "And why is there one like in the middle of like in the drink holder?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she found like $300-400 of 20s hanging out in my car. And that's a weird thing that I'm telling you because you guys are gonna think that I don't know anything about money. I really just didn't know what to do with cash, and I didn't want to think about it, okay? And I just let it go wherever it needed to go. Like, you know, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. That's how I felt about money. But that actually stems from an idea that I didn't really feel like I was like valuable enough to even hold on to the things that I earned. So when you're going through this transit, just understand like your Taurus energy value, the North Node, even if that's not innately who you are at this moment and you're more in the Scorpio energy of like, I desire money or I don't desire money or I don't think I can have it. You have to kind of get to this place with money this year where you're like, I deserve to have what I've worked for. I deserve the even exchange of money. I deserve to like be able to build something with my money, okay? And those were lessons that took me a really long time to learn. And in fact, when I remember moving in with my boyfriend, like the first time I ever moved in with a guy, and he wanted me to pay half the rent. And a lot of people had a lot of issues with that, like friends. Some people did, some people didn't. As a Libra, I polled people, like if I should pay half the rent. That's not the discussion, but it is very Scorpio South Node, like even exchange, sharing this energy, which I'm going to get into in the next one when we're talking about sex. But the money exchange here was so difficult for me to wrap my head around because it did feel unbalanced. And because it felt unbalanced, I used to shove the cash that I earned into a drawer. And I said, whenever you need my rent, just pull out of there. I don't want to talk to you about it, which is toxic and dysfunctional. So I just want you to know that that toxic and dysfunctional way of thinking can happen. You need to, during this transit, have control over your money and your finances. You can't just like pretend that like you don't have it or that you're not like working for it or whatever. Like you really do need to see what you have. You have to know your assets. You can't have somebody else taking care of it. There's going to be some issues with the Scorpio South Node that people might actually try to steal your money. Or if you start to put up boundaries around your money, people might feel like they need to take more of it or something like that. What you make belongs to you. It doesn't matter if you're married or single or what. It is what you've worked for. And then if somebody has worked for your money, then there's an exchange of energy there. This sounds really weird, but money is just energetic exchange. Like it's just an energy. So that's why people pay for sex. And it's like sex costs this much. It's as an energy. Money costs this much as an energy. Or this person watches your children, so they get paid this much. Even if they're the mother of your children or something like that, you deliver them money. Because even if like you're like, no, these are what we know as a society, like the man makes the money and the woman stays home with the children and she has access to the man's money. There is a little unconscious switch that goes off in both of their minds if that is not even energy, okay? It has to be an even exchange of energy or things get wrong. And that's why people in marriages fight about money all the time, because there's not an even exchange of energy. So think about that when it comes to money. Think of it as an energy. It's one that you need, just like we want sex, just like we want food, you know, just like all these things. But there is a denial of giving ourselves certain things. Like even, okay, here's a wonderful thing. As a Taurus North Node, I just forget to eat all the time because I mean, I just am like, oh, I don't need to feed myself. I'm fine. I have all these things I have to do. I haven't deserved food yet. Or like basic like showering. I'll like, oh, even though I really want to shower right now, I can't because I have to work out, and I'll deserve that shower after I work out. There's a lot of deserving here with this North Node and South Node that really has to get to this point where you're just like, I do deserve the things that I've worked for. I do deserve to take care of myself, even if I haven't done enough. Like, it reminds me of that Alanis Morissette song, that I would be good, even if I got bankrupt. I don't know the words, but it's like that. There's a lot of that. So feeling like you are deserving of the things you've worked for, I think is a really important thing. And recognizing the vultures trying to swirl around your shit, okay? But if we're gonna talk about money, we have to talk about sex, because money and sex are the national anthems. And here we will go talk about sex. This is gonna be when this video doesn't get like fully monetized, so maybe not. Okay. Hey, my camera battery died. So here I am back again. We're going to talk about sex. Now, sex and money are two energies that we, you know, they go together like peanut butter and jelly, don't they, right? Like, I got sex, you got money, let's make this happen. We can get a big house and a white picket fence, or I can just give you the money and we can meet at a hotel. Whatever it might be, you know, like that's kind of this energetic exchange. And it's because Scorpio and Taurus are both about that. Taurus is like that self-love energy that I was saying when we were talking about money, like value in yourself, the money and the value that you make yourself. But then Scorpio is that exchange of fluids. I don't know why I like can't talk about sex. Sex is just like really funny, I guess. Maybe not. Sex isn't funny. But you know, obviously, with how wonderful sex is, because it makes people feel good, it can also make you feel really, really, really bad too, right? It can be on one side an amazing experience, or it can be on the other side a horrifying experience, or in like the middle, it could just be like, okay. So in the Scorpio South Node energy with sex, there's the clearing of the karma of like sexual hangups, and there can even be healing of like past sexual like abuse or some things like that, and maybe even finding sex with somebody who doesn't exchange money for your sex, but maybe love instead. Now, if that's a little bit too like cringy, it is kind of cringy, isn't it? Like, here, I'll give you my heart, you give me your body. It's so cringe, but also really cute. Right? That's super cute. Also, that's like really connected and more like soulmate type things, which Scorpio kind of understands and Taurus really wants. And this sort of like worship of like body worship, you know, of like two people who just love each other and they love each other's bodies. You're getting into like Taurus energy there with that, because it's like sensuality and just being aware of self and of others, and of understanding like the innate value that they have inside and out. So there can be sexual issues with this, but there can also be sexual good things with this. In your life, it's going to be put in on the forefront. Like, it's going to be a big deal. Sex is going to be a really big deal this year. That's kind of what I want to say. I don't feel like I need to tell you more about it. I mean, you could probably Google sex if you need to learn more. You know, in that sense too, I do believe there's going to be something. There's going to be things like just on a collective level of OnlyFans, escorting, sugar babies, sugar daddies, that type of energy. There's gonna be something going on with it. There's going to be some form of clarity going on with that. There could be a rise in it, and there could also be a decline in another way. And the only reason that that would happen with this energy, because obviously two consenting adults, I want to pay you for your body, you want to make money for your body, like it's our national anthem. I don't know why I keep clapping. This is what sex sounds like in my head. So embarrassing. Some people aren't making enough money for their sex, basically. And if you're not making enough money for your sex, you're going to feel that energetically, right? And certain people have certain values on how much they can get paid for their sex, like how much that they're consciously capable of accepting for that, right? And if they don't get enough for that, they're going to act out in different ways. And that's going to be seen in some way. And I don't exactly know how. I'm not really reading the energy, and neither did I like try to kind of get into it. I just know that with this, it's going to be that way. You know, like I said, I have a Scorpio South Node. I've experienced lots of really fun things within sex, also within like self-love and like feeling worthless just in my own body because of my North Node in Taurus. So if in general, like you're not having sex and you're just alone, it would be good. Wow, I just realized where this could be headed. But it would be good probably to learn to love the pieces of yourself that you don't love this year. Like, just spend time doing that. The North Node is there for you to realize what you really look like, not compared to other people, but just in your own body, because your body is special, right? There's not another body like yours. And because there's not another body like yours, like actually kind of gets me to like the idea of like Instagram models. You know, they all like look like ants, even if they're like so beautiful without all this stuff. It's like they get their boob jobs, which is fine. I always feel like I have to tell you guys it's fine. Like, so you know, I'm not against any of this stuff at all. I just think that if you're doing it for you, like whatever, but like, let's be aware, right? Because the worst thing that you can do with anything that you're doing is being unaware that you're doing it, right? Just accept that you're doing it and be aware and be authentic within that. But, you know, the Instagram look of the gigantic boobs, the very photoshopped waist, and then like the big butt and like the no hip dips, because everyone's against hip dips right now, the same way they were used to be for the thigh gap. Now like, oh, thigh gap is out, hip dips, get rid of those hip dips. Anyway, but they look like ants. You notice that? And then like the background is like always warped, but it doesn't matter because they're getting like paid. They're influencing and their faces are so washed out, like you can't see any of their actual skin anymore. This is what, there's so many different carbon copies of that. And a lot of it has to do with a homogenized version of beauty, which Taurus North Node is not into. It's just not gonna fly. It can't fly because there's no way that you're like, I truly like the way I look if I am photoshopping myself into the body shape of an ant. So many people are like, yeah, that's it. I want those like aggressive curves. The Taurus North Node is going to make you kind of really look at your body and be like, am I okay if my waist isn't this small, right? Am I okay if I have like weird parts of my body? Like, what am I okay with that? Am I okay if my boobs are not hard as rocks? You hug someone whose boobs are hard as rocks. Anyway, so that's like sexuality, beauty, stuff like that. Okay, now I want to talk about lawsuits. Lawsuits that have to deal with justice are normally going to be Libra things. So maybe a Libra North Node thing, a Saturn and Libra thing. Now, Scorpio actually has a lot of energy that has to deal with non-justice lawsuits, okay? And what I mean by that is like maybe petty bullshit lawsuits, maybe, well, this could bring justice, a sexual lawsuit. There could be, you know, fighting people for, you know, sexually exploiting you, things like that. That could happen because you're trying to, you know, get your energetic power back. So you might do that. There can even be like custody battles through like a partner that maybe you weren't married to or married to, but it's going to be a lot more intimate and a lot more like a shared resources. That's what I'm trying to say, because Scorpio is about these shared resources and in a very like emotional, deep way. So that can be sex, it can be children like that you share with somebody else. There can be a lot of that with the Scorpio South Node, and maybe even getting certain things right. Maybe not restoring them to justice, but energetically balancing them out, which is its own form of justice. But that's what Scorpio wants to bring to Taurus, bringing that North Node to Taurus and having the things that belong to you, that Taurus I have. Because again, the Taurus sign is I have. And you might desire more than you have, but what we want to end up with at the end of this year and a half is what does belong to you, not what you're desiring from somebody else, just what is yours. And that's all you need. And then you can build from there. But we're kind of like really stupid about what is ours, aren't we? Everything is about desiring more. So that can happen. Also, like I believe there will be like rights infringement lawsuits. This belongs to me. Like, okay, you might have a lawsuit. So say you take something from somebody and you pretend like it's yours, and then somebody sues you for that. What is that called? I don't know. Like rights infringement on my intellectual rights, something like that. That can happen. That would be because you took something energetically from somebody else and it's not fair. It's not even. It needs to be even. Scorpio just needs to be even. You cannot desire what belongs to somebody else. If it belongs to you, you'll have it, and then you'll end up in the North Node. Taurus, I have, but you cannot have more than what belongs to you. So there will be lawsuits to get that back to who it belongs to. Which also means, because it's trying to get into fate and destiny, if you did take from somebody and somebody is suing you, you might lose that. You might not really stand a chance within that. So you probably just want to settle. In any sort of these lawsuits, or even if it's not like an actual court lawsuit, but it's an argument or something, don't try to take more than what's yours. Don't give up more than what's yours. And have enough awareness to know the difference. Because when you get to that Taurus North Node, it is about, I have, this belongs to me. It doesn't belong to you, it belongs to me, and I know that, and that is true, and that is karmically true, and that is what matters, okay? So that's what I got with that. Now let's talk about drugs. Drugs. Now drugs and being high is actually a Pisces thing, okay? So if we're talking about like alcohol, like spirits, getting high, all of that, very Pisces, like otherworldly, whatever. But the act of drug selling, buying, giving, taking, especially like when it comes to legal drugs like marijuana. I know it's not legal everywhere, but it is legal some places. My conversation skills are going really well. So you got marijuana, you got alcohol, even where it is illegal, because Scorpio stuff is going to rule the taboo, the things that are legal that people still do and that we know about. So like drug cartels, mafia stuff, underworld things, all of that, these drugs are moving because they make a lot of money. Opium in the middle of the country is big, right? New Mexico is just flourishing with blue meth, because that's the real story. I know all about blue meth. You don't gotta tell me about it. And yeah, and then just, so you got that, which is underworld Scorpio stuff. But then we also have like legal marijuana, things that are taxed, things that are traded, right? Because right now marijuana, like weed, all that stuff makes a lot of money. It's a bazillions of dollar like empire at this point. Bazillions, that's a real word. And so if it can be traded, if it can be taxed, all of these things have to do with Scorpio as well. So I don't know exactly fully what will happen. Believe it or not, don't do a lot of drugs because I am a drug. I don't know for sure what is happening with that, and I only watch TV shows and movies. Like Ozark is coming on, and probably get a lot of my drug knowledge from there. But I do know that that show's about laundering money, and laundering money also falls in Scorpio, so interesting stuff. Utilizing what you know about all these different forms of these substances, right? Not about how they alter you. You got to look at them and how they make money, how they trade, how people get them, the taboo, the underworld, the underbelly of the world, like what happens with this stuff. In a way, it's almost like sex. Drugs are they are like sex, like drugs and sex, right? They go hand in hand, almost on the opposite side of money. Like money will buy drugs, you'll make it off of drugs, money will buy sex, and you can make money off sex. So in that sense, sex and drugs, they're they're different colors, but if you turn the grayscale filter on, sex and drugs would be the same color. Does that make sense to you? And the only thing is that it's not, your sexuality is not super taxable, is it? I don't know. I'm like asking a lot of questions to nobody out here. But say you have all this stuff, okay, so you're making all this money and everything off that. Something is going to go on with this, and I would say that there's probably drug wars going on, because it's like, I want to acquire this, but you're going over to like what you already have acquired. So there will be battles, but the battles will be kind of won before they even get started in and of itself, because ultimately the only people who can win are the ones who have what they have, right? So going after more than what is yours and trying to acquire more than what is yours, it might not work, might be dead in the water, okay? And that could affect like trading stuff too. I can't get into this conversation. I don't know anything about anything. So all I know is that all of that relates to Scorpio. I just am not good at that stuff. So if what I'm saying is ringing any sorts of bells to anyone watching it, there is drug stuff happening. Yeah, we got the drug stuff. Now the next thing is prisons. Now prisons, like real full-on prisons, is ruled by Pisces in the 12th house again. However, the idea of being chained is an 8th house Scorpio thing, okay? South Node in Scorpio is about enslavement. It's about wrongfully incarcerated. It's about being stuck in a cycle that you cannot get out of. So like just even being in a 9 to 5 to me sounds like a form of jail, but I don't want to be like rude about that. But it's just like you're doing the same thing every single day is like a cycle, and it's like an abusive cycle to the human psyche. Not everybody can do the same thing every day without kind of slowly dying or slowly killing themselves. If like you have a Scorpio South Node, it actually makes it really hard to do that. Like to keep a job where you're doing the same thing every day, or like to get paid for something in the same way all the time. Like it's really very boring. And as a Scorpio South Node myself, it's like I didn't want to desire, like I don't want to work for a certain amount of money. I'd much rather work for myself. And obviously with the Taurus North Node, it is I have my own job. I have my own, like I am in charge of myself. I am my own authority. Nobody enslaves me. Like nobody is my boss. Nobody is my ruler. Nobody tells me when to go to bed. Like I am in control of all of these things on my own. Not everybody can feasibly do that. So that's not always what it's going to be about. It's not always like you're working for yourself or something like that. But with the Scorpio on the South Node, it does allow you to look at, well, can I, for one? Two, is there relationships or people with the same energetic like frequency as me that we could form something together to create something that we could have, instead of me feeling like I am beneath like a boss or somebody telling me what to do? Can I be the same as them? Right? And actually this has a lot to do with like integrity and feeling like you're being forced to do something for somebody who is over you that you don't want to do. That kind of goes against your morals and values, which morals and values are a lot. The value falls in Scorpio and Taurus energy. So your integrity is going to be big, right? Like how much integrity do you have? Because when you're making money and doing something that you don't want to do for somebody who is above you, you like will lose your integrity just for that money, right? And so this goes back to money, Scorpio being about money, and I think that's why I talked about money first. But sometimes in order to get out of like a bad situation, like you are imprisoned by somebody who is making you do something, but they're giving you money and you could pay to get out. Like you're like, I'm done being imprisoned by this, but this is what it costs. It costs this amount of integrity. And like you have to look at yourself and be like, do I have enough integrity? Do I have that currency? You might not have it. And if you don't, you might not be able to get out. Like that's just where it's going to come down to. As above, so below, like that's an emotional, like important part of it. But it also is going to go into probably releasing a lot of incarcerated people who were wrongfully accused of things. And because I also added drugs, you know, there are people who are still incarcerated for marijuana use, even though, and selling and buying, even though it's legal now. There's a lot of that that's going to go on because it's going to be into this like, do you have power over somebody's human life to tell them what to do all the time? To literally lock them up when they've done nothing wrong according to the law that is. And that's going to get into like, do you have enough power to own a person? Can you own a person? Because you can't. And the Scorpio South Node might get people to try, but a lot of people are going to realize their own power, and they're going to go into that Taurus North Node and they're like, I have this. I am this. I am not beneath you at all. I don't need to work my way up your ladder. I am the ladder. The last one is exposing lies. So Scorpio is a liar. Taurus is a secret keeper. Like, they both don't show too much of themselves. Taurus would like to be like naked and vulnerable, but also vague. Scorpio is don't reveal too much. Keep yourself a mystery because you can't trust people. So the Scorpio South Node is like kind of realizing that you might be holding on to secrets for other people. Other people might be holding on to secrets for you. There's a big chance that people who hold on to these secrets for you could expose them. You might have like a fear of that. You might even realize that you have some information that you want to expose because you're going to go into that North Node of Taurus. I have information. I want to expose it. Like, this is mine. I want to give it to something to make something better, to clear up the karma of the past, the Scorpio energy. Now, because Scorpio, like, it is about secrets and lies, it's also about sex, money, drugs, all of that stuff. So it could have to do with like sex trafficking, abuse of power, because Scorpio is also about power and control. It could be about people you've been like intimate with or close with who have given you information that you've held on to that you decide you're no longer going to hold on to. And that can create a lot of fear in the people who thought they had enough power over you to keep your mouth shut. And that can also bring a lot of fear into the people who have those secrets, who now feel like, well, they're mine and I have them and I should say them. Now, one thing I would say with this is Taurus is not an air sign, right? And neither is Scorpio. So that means like you don't necessarily have to communicate them. I'm going to let you know that. There's other ways to expose lies and not just like speak them out of your face when that comes up, because like Taurus with your like throat chakra and like getting that out, it's more manipulative. It's more exposure. It's just like, how can you get, you know, the king caught with his pants down, right? Like that would be much better. You need a picture of that. You don't need to say it. You're not a whistleblower. This isn't about being a whistleblower. It's not about that at all. In fact, it's about even like being willing to figure out a game plan for the information you have. Or because like Aquarius is knowledge, right? And Aquarius is square, it's bending the nodes right now. So it's like, I have this information, I'm going to expose it, but I can't just be upfront with this information. Plus Saturn is in Aquarius. So it's like saying you can't just do it, you know? You can't just give this information up. Nobody's gonna be able to do anything with it. So you have to be like smarter about it. And you have to blackmail. I mean, I'm not saying you should blackmail people. Don't, that's bad karma. But having information and holding on to it in a Taurus way where somebody's like really worried you might give it up can sometimes get someone to expose themselves. So that would be my secret, just having a Taurus North Node instead. Just hoping that people kind of do things themselves and you don't have to like be the one to do it. Because I am a gatherer and a collector of information. However, I don't always give it up. Sometimes you just have to have it and people kind of know that you do. That sounds like kind of a form of blackmail. Whatever. That's a Scorpio thing. You're close to someone, you exchange information, you realize there's a power struggle, and then you both carry different information about each other, so you don't attack with it. And I can't imagine that the Scorpio South Node, Taurus North Node is about attacking with this information. Taurus has too much stoic energy, like too much like, no, I'll keep this for myself. I'll just hold on to this. And when the North Node goes into Aries, that is more about war. So it could be that you start to realize that you have something, you start to game plan things, and in a year and a half, you're like, yeah, it's time to share this information. Libra being the South Node, it is an air sign. It is about speaking your truths. It is about those types of lawsuits that will bring complete justice. So this isn't formally the time, but it definitely is the energy surrounding this exposure of lies. And I would also imagine that a lot of people are just going to get caught red-handed. Scorpio karma is the worst. And I think that's the thing with Scorpio and Taurus. It is like you can keep a secret, and sometimes a secret is a truth. So this isn't about exposing truths. It's definitely exposing lies. That's very different, and I can't explain them. Let me explain it. For instance, say like you are slowly trying to escape a bad situation, like in the Shawshank Redemption, and you got to escape this prison. And so you've been working on digging a hole with a spoon for 20 years, right? Behind a poster. And like, would you tell people that you're doing that? Like, you can't tell people you're doing that because you'll throw your own escape, right? So the escape plan is good because it's getting you to what you have. So this isn't about exposing those secrets. You're not going to be exposed for that, especially like this energy is going to keep these things, like your truth, to you. Okay, if it belongs to you, if it's to protect your safety, to protect your energy, all of those things, that will be safe. If you have to meet in secret with people, that will be safe. That won't be exposed because karmically it's trying to clear itself. So it's not about that. It's like, are you doing this for the right reasons? Are you trying to save and protect people? Are you protecting people? You know, like, what are you doing? If you're doing bad shit and you're lying about like things that are just evil, yeah, that shit's it's gonna start trickling out, and it's going to be really, really dirty and gross. Like dirty, gross, slimy. Like imagine like the grossest things in the world that you don't even want to imagine. That stuff, it's going to ooze the next year and a half in probably a pretty sick way. So yeah, that's what I got. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Taurus North Node video. I hope it helped a little bit. But just remember, like, it is all about what you have. And that might come with like knowing what you desire first and trying to see if like what you desire actually belongs to you or if it belongs to something else. That is your video. Thank you guys so much. I hope that this helps you navigate the next year and a half, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.